Right, taking notes. Leave this up. I'll get myself sorted out, and then we'll start in a minute. Alright, chapter 6, 2. Equations of linear relationships. Our central question, what are two ways you can represent a linear equation? Then we say, linear equation is an equation whose graph is a straight line. And then you can graph an equation by making a table and plotting ordered pairs. We give you one example. And then there's 4 steps to this. So our first step is to choose values for x, then substitute those values into the equation, then solve for y, and then once we have x and y, graph the ordered pairs. Eric. What's up, Eric? Give you a second to copy this down. Alright, so when we pick our values for x, since this is just an equation, to get an idea of what happens anywhere in this equation, we want to pick a couple negative numbers, we want to pick 0, and a couple positive numbers. We're going to say x is -2, and -1, 0, and 1. And 4 points will be enough. Okay. The negatives aren't such a big deal in 7th grade, but as you get further along, the negatives make a difference as far as what the graph looks like, so we just practice now. Okay? So the second step, substitute in the equation. So if our equation says -2x plus 3, right? So we're going to rewrite it, only instead of putting x, we're going to pick the number we said x is going to be. So our top one will be -2 times -2 plus 3, and then -2 times -1 plus 3, and then -2 times 0 plus 3, and -2 times 1 plus 3. This is 7th grade. Help with 8th grade too. You guys do the same exact thing. I'm buffering. Why am I buffering? Hold on. I can't change it while I'm going. Oh well, we'll figure it out for next time. Alright, so once we do that, then we solve it. So we say -2 times -2 is +4 plus 3, 7. Okay. -2 times -1 is +2 plus 3 is 5. -2 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. And -2 times 1 is -2 plus 3 is 1. Okay. So that gives us 4 ordered pairs, and we can rewrite them if We need to see it. This is -2, 7, -1, 5, 0, 3, and 1, 1. Okay. So if I want to plot -2, 7, -2 means I'm going to go to the left 2. And if y is 7, we're going to go up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I counted that right. Alright, -1, 5. So we go left 1 and up 5. Then we go over 0 and up 3. And then 1, 1. So we go 1 to the right, 1 up. And if you look, this will definitely make a straight line. It's got ends on it. There it is. So if we do this correctly, anytime you have an equation that looks like this, it should always make a straight line. So if you get anything that's not a straight line, you know you've made a mistake. Okay? That's the whole thing. So you make your table, pick some values for x, you can choose what you want here, do some math to get your y values, and then plot your answers. Okay? Alright, halfway there. So our example 2, bowling alley charges $2.50 per game, plus $5 for shoe rental. The equation for total cost, this is nice because we're new at this, so it just tells you what the equation is. By the end of this chapter, you'll be able to write these yourself. So our equation is C equals 2.5G plus 5, where G is the number of games bowled, and C is the total cost. Oh, I didn't write the question down. Represent the linear equation with a graph. Okay. To make ourselves a table, we're comparing games to cost. Our equation in the middle, 2.5G plus 5. Okay. Now this one's a little bit different. We can't pick negative numbers for x because you can't bowl -2 games. So we say, what's the fewest number of games you could actually go bowling? And that is 0. It's very easy to bowl 0 games. Or we could bowl 1, or we could bowl 2, or we could bowl 3 games. Okay? So if it's a word problem, you have to think a little bit about what x makes sense to be. Alright, then we just substitute it into our equation. We have 2.50 times 0 plus 5. Then we have 2.50 times 1 plus 5 times 2 and times 3. Okay, then we solve it. So 2.5 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is 5. 2.5 times 1 is 2.5, plus 5 is 7.5. 2.5 times 2 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. And 2.5 times 3 is 7.5, plus 5 is 12.5. And if you don't believe my math, you can grab a calculator and check it, but those are all correct. So our 4 points here, we'd have 0, 5, 1, 7.5, 2, 10, and 3, 12.5. I sort of ran out of room here, so I'm going to move this whole graph over. Oh, come on. For real this time. So our x-axis, that's our games. We should always label our x and y. And then our y-axis is total cost. And then we just plot our points. So we have 0, 5, 1, 7.5, so between 7 and 8, 2, 10, and 3, 12.5, so a little bit off the graph. And just looking at it, this appears to be a straight line, and fill it in. Okay. And then later on, when you get older, you'll learn why it's a dashed line instead of a solid line. Not a big deal right now, we just need to see that. It's definitely all going in a row, definitely makes a straight line. Okay. And then number 3 just wants to know how much more would it cost to bowl 7 games than it would to cost 4 games. So to answer this one, this is just answering questions with equations. Not so much about the graph. And you know, find cost for 7 games. Then we need to find the cost for 4 games. And if we want to know how much more it would be, we would then subtract the 2. Thanks for the videos, dude. You're welcome, dudette. So it's our same equation as before. So the cost for 7 games would be 2.5 times 7 plus 5, right? Because it's still the same rule. The cost for 4 games would be 2.5 times 4 plus 5. And then we can do this math. So 2.5 times 7 is 17.5, yeah, plus 5. So this would be $22.50. And for 4 games, 2.5 times 4 is 10. And then 10 plus 5 is 15. And then we just need to subtract those 2 answers. So what is 22.5? Who's in my class? Lots of people are in my class. What do you mean, who's in my classroom physically right now? 22.5 minus 15 is 0. 5. 22 minus 15 is 7. So it would cost $7.50 more. I'm at home right now. I don't know who's in my room. Hopefully nobody. Alright, so that's about it. Also another way we could have gotten $7.50 more. If you can write an alternative way to get $7.50 without having to do quite all this work, write it down right here. Okay, and then show it to your math teacher so they can be proud of you. Also, don't forget to write your summary. So what did you learn about? So I would start with linear equations, and then I would expand on that. What about linear equations? What's up, Ellis? It's AG. What's up, Ag? Okay, and then also don't forget to write your questions. So the question should be pretty easy because there wasn't that much to it. Like if this whole section is about graphing linear equations, you could say, how do we, and then fill that in. So what did we do here? We graphed equations. So the question that's being answered by the notes is, how do we what? I'll let you figure that out. Okay? So that's about it. Not too bad. All right. Good night.